Hello, bridge builders! I'm here with some exciting news. The first volume of interviews is now available on Amazon.com. The link can be found at eatlunchandboardgame.com. I promise that all proceeds from sales of this book will go right back into this podcast and channel. Whether that is new and better audio equipment for the podcast, or video equipment for the YouTube channel, or even more games to review, the money will not be wasted. Click over to Amazon and get your copy of Eat Lunch and Board Game, the first course today. And thank you for supporting the show. All right, welcome back to Eat Lunch and Board Game. I'm your host, Adam Collins. Today I have with me Joe Hamerly of Average Joe's Podcast. Say hey, Joe.
How's it going?
Good. You have the esteemed pleasure of being my first guest.
This is awesome.
So Joe and I met like 10, 12 years ago.
Oh, at least 15.
Yeah, or maybe just over 1 year ago. I'm not sure which is the truth there.
Yeah, that's when I lived in your
but
house.
Joe... Yeah. So Joe is one of the backers that I met from running my Kickstarter for Fences, and Joe back to be drawn into the game.
I believe you mispronounced the title of that. It's called The Epic Game of Fences.
It's definitely something. Yeah, we had a good time. We met by chance at Geekway down in St. Louis.
Yes. First person to ever ask me to sign anything.
Well, the first of hopefully many.
Yeah. We'll keep hoping about that. I'll just keep signing stuff for you.
There you go. Of the exclusive Joe Hamerly signed editions of everything.
There we go.
All right. So, Joe, the quick two questions. Who are you and what do you do for the gaming community?
All right. Well, I'm Joe, so I go by The Average Joe. I created a podcast about 3 years ago or so. I run a YouTube channel. I organize a game group. I've got my podcast. I do public events that I raise money for charity. And I'll be opening up a game store for the community this coming summer.
Excellent. And you are out of?
Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
So nowhere close to St. Louis, Missouri.
No. But, it's a hop, skip, and a jump. I think it's like about 8.5 hour drive.
Yeah, that's more than a hop, skip, and a jump. But
okay, well, I get confused.
Maybe a hop, skip, and a leap.
There we go.
All right. So how did you get into gaming?
Well, so that was my grandparents doing on my dad's side. So they were pretty much my best friends. And they also like board games. So my grandpa got me into a game called Caroms, which is a wooden board with 4 nets in the corners.
Yeah.
And you'll flick these circle. So they've got wooden pieces. They've got plastic pieces. Just depends on what kind of version you have. So we used to play
like
all
rings.
the time. Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma... she loved card games and board games, and so we played Double Solitaire quite a bit. But the board game that sticks out in my mind was the Toxic Avenger.
like based on the movie?
Yep, based on the movie. So there was a cartoon around the same time, and so my grandma was cool. And so that's what we played. Is we played games like that, and she got my first board game, which I still have, which is X-Men Danger Room, something like that. It's from Pressman Games back in the early 90s, and so you'll have these actual miniatures of the X-Men, and you'll try to clear out the mansion. So things like that.
Interesting.
That's who got me into gaming. And then about 10 years or so ago, a buddy of mine, Mark, he lived here at the time. He introduced me that, hey, you like board games, but did you know that this is a hobby? And he took me over to a local game store, which I didn't know existed because I'm like, my head's in the ground basically. And, yeah, it was basically a gateway at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I had that. So I was kind of the same. I played a lot of Monopoly, a lot of. I mean, Monopoly was like my go-to for a long time, and then my friend got Axis and Allies, and man, we would stay up all hours of the night playing Axis and Allies, and then in college, still played those games a lot. Little, a lot of bit of Risk in there too, and then somebody, I think it was my cousin, introduced me to Catan, and it was like, wow, this is great. And then once I found out it was like actually, like you said, a hobby, like it's a thing. It's not just these one or two, it's a whole thing. It was pretty much all over for me at that point.
Yeah, I think at this point it's not much of a hobby for me anymore. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's more of a lifestyle by now. So, I don't want to ask you what your favorite game is because I feel like asking a gamer what their favorite game is hard.
Oh, it's extremely hard because you have so many
because
different genres. You've got game elements that you like, so that's like the worst question you could ask somebody because especially like
right,
me, I have no idea. I mean, I know I have top games,
sure.
but a favorite. I mean, that's asking me to pick a favorite kid.
Well, that's easy. I only have two, so
So it's the
it's easier for
firstborn,
me to.
huh?
Yeah, it's definitely. I have my favorite son and my favorite daughter.
We're just
I
to
can,
say it as parents, right?
yeah, I can cheat that way. So I guess the question I really would rather ask is, what game is on your table if I come over right now? What
Oh
game are you
man.
obsessed with at this time?
So that's a bad question too because so I have my game room that I take a lot
Mm-hmm.
of pride in, and I've several tables in here, and you will you will never find a game set up. What you will find are dice. I always have
Yes, I
dice.
remember that.
Yes. So, um, way I usually typically do it is whoever comes over, I always ask them, "What are you in the mood for?" And then we grab a game. So, like, I always have my general idea of what I'm always up for playing, but it really kind of depends on who's coming over. So, like, if you were coming over, obviously you would find fences on the table.
I've played that a few times.
Yes, and that is the thing is I would really enjoy just sitting down and playing with the creator of fences. I think that'd be really cool.
No, we'll definitely have to work that out. Definitely have to work that out. But yeah, I understand. I don't have a game room right now. I have a dining room table that I cover with games till my wife makes me put them away so we can eat dinner, which apparently we have to do every day.
Oh, eating is not necessary when board games are involved.
Yeah, I was at Miniature Market, which is a store here in St. Louis. I'm sure you're aware of them.
I am. I'm a longtime customer.
They they actually have a sign in their game area, says something along the lines of don't let the gaming stop, and it's a list of places that will deliver food to Miniature Market for you.
Oh, wow.
It's always a good thing to look up and be like, oh yeah, I can get the pizza from here or the burger from there, so you
Yep.
don't have to stop gaming.
That's the way to do it.
So, how do you board game at lunch?
Okay, so I do not, and the only reason why I do not is because I don't take breaks during the day. I have too much work on my plate.
That's a shame.
It is. Back in the day when I actually had lunch breaks, I would totally love to have played a game. At that time, I didn't know anybody in the hobby, so it was just me sitting at a table by myself having my lunch. Nowadays, in the last 15 years, I haven't had a lunch break ever. I rarely stop during the day, and that's what I do. So on the weekends, though, my weekends consist heavily of either playing games or just kind of hanging out in the game room and being surrounded by games. So sometimes I only have a good 15, 20 minutes to actually play a game on a weekend. Other weekends I
Yeah,
play for 8 to 10 hours.
no, I get it. Like we talked earlier this week. Was doing some what I like to call research. Playing a game I haven't played in a while to remind myself how great it is.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta love that. But yeah, so we at work, it was funny. I started playing with a couple coworkers, and then other people kind of we booked a conference room, and they would some other people would poke their heads in, like, "What are you guys doing?" And then they would sit in and learn to play, and then somebody else would be like, "Hey, where'd so and so go?" And then they would find their way to the conference room, and then all of a sudden, people from other divisions in my building were like, "Wait, you guys are playing board games?" And the next thing I know, we went from three or four people to we had, like I said, a thriving community within my building on campus. And then we even went beyond that, and now every Friday, pre-COVID, we would go meet at the centralized dining facility on campus and meet with people from other buildings even, and play games with them as well.
That's impressive. Where I work, we don't really have that option. So I manage a garbage company. And so if I'm in the office, I'm usually working on the computer. And if I'm not in the office, I'm in a truck. So basically, I'm surrounded by myself.
Man, that's horrible company right there.
Wow, don't sugarcoat, man. Just don't hold back. Just let me have it.
I wouldn't want to be stuck in a truck by myself with just me. Man, I know how I can be.
Surprised how entertained you can be by yourself.
So, what is your go-to 30-minute game? If you've only got 30 minutes, what game are you going to knock out?
All right, so I'm going to say it, and I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for it. It's Splendor.
Splendor I like Splendor.
There's a lot of haters, though.
There is a lot of hate, and I think people hate it because it's just a giant math problem.
Yep.
And if you get the people who've played it too much, like a couple of the people I work with, then it's not a lot of fun because they know the math and they will run the game. They'll just completely take it over.
I love math, but I do not play this game as a math game. I like it for the engine building.
Yeah.
And I always take the long road and I build that engine. I make it so I don't have to take coins ever. And I can just take a free card as soon as I'm available to.
I like the game a lot, and I've never really I haven't played it enough to work the math out in it, but I'm really good at coming in, like, if we would have had 2 more turns, I'd have had it.
Yep.
I'm that guy. I'm the guy that never wins, but I'm always right there.
So I love this game, but there is a broken tactic. I cannot bring myself to do it, but there is a way of doing it, and you can win with very few cards. And I played with a guy, and I could not beat him. We played twice. It's the first time he ever played it, and he found it, and he was brilliant about it. And then Tom, my co-host, tried it down at Geekway, and he's like, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it. And he did it. And again, I could not beat him. And it is just a way of you basically save for a higher card, and then you just do that just a few times. And by the time someone has their engine built, you basically beat them 2 turns earlier by doing it that way. And I can't wrap my head around. I mean, I can see it in my head. I just can't bring myself to doing it because, to me, if I did that, it would ruin the game for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the engine building part of it. I think it's a lot of fun. Have you dabbled with the expansion?
I have. I'm actually not a huge fan of the expansions. There's a couple that I do enjoy. I'm trying to think. It's the cities. I didn't mind the cities, but I thought that one was kind of unnecessary. And then there was the strongholds, and I believe that's where you basically block off cards for people, and you can sit on cards. I was not a fan of that one. I think it was, if I recall, it was like the Orient or something. It added another marketplace row or 2 rows, something like that. I liked that. And then, or no, I think the strongholds was, there was one with shields. There was like 4 different shields or something like that. I enjoyed that one because it added different abilities.
I enjoyed those are the only 2 I played. I haven't played the other 2.
But the one where you're putting a marker on a card to basically hold it or make somebody use an action to kick you off of that, I was not a fan of that one. And the cities just seemed unnecessary.
I remember reading in one of the nerd gaming magazines when that came out, and then finding like this thread on Reddit or something about it, and all the hate for it. Like, why would you mess with a perfect game? And my number one thought was, then don't buy
Yeah.
it.
Well, and that's the thing is, I was on the fence for quite some time about should I get it, and then I was like, well, it's $40 for an expansion, and then I started weighing it out. I was like, but it's basically $10 an expansion. You're getting 4 expansions.
It's when you start rationalizing with yourself is when you know you have a problem.
Oh yeah, yeah. I talked myself into buying it. The only problem I was like I'm weighing things out, and it's like, but the problem is if I was buying each expansion, I'd probably buy them all anyway because I'm a completionist.
Yep.
But
I hear you.
giving me the option to pick which ones I want. You're forcing me to buy all 4 for that $40.
Yeah.
And so you gave me 2 junk expansions, and you gave me 2 good expansions, and so it worked out, I guess. And then you redid it by releasing the Marvel version of Splendor, which I have because I'm a freak and I had to have it. But on the other hand, I still haven't played it, and apparently there's a new
your shelf of
mechanic.
shame is huge. Yeah, your shelf of shame is large.
Oh yeah, so I have I don't even have them all into Board Game Geek. I think I've got about 1,400 games, and I have only played about 10% of that.
That's
And
unfortunate.
here's why: is because I am the guy that always is willing to play someone else's game to help them out, and so I let mine take the back burner. And it's like, oh, I'd really like to play this game. And then you got a buddy that brings over a game or a bag of games or 2 bags of games. And it's like, well, yeah, we can play yours.
Yeah. I've got, that's the advantage. I tend to be the guy with the games, which is, I say the advantage, but don't, to my wife, that's not an advantage.
Yep.
But, my shelf of shame's kind of low. I try to keep it low. And here lately, I've been really picky about what I pick up and what I don't pick up, and that's kept it, even lower because I am like, well, if I'm going to spend money, I'm going to play it. That's where print and plays get me though.
Oh,
it's only $3, and I literally have a whole folder on my hard drive now of print and plays I've downloaded that I haven't even printed off. I've got a folder sitting here right next to me of ones I've printed off and haven't cut out. So
just wait until you get the hard drive for your print and plays.
I'm trying not to get to that point, but yeah, like if I counted those into my shelf of shame, man, I'd be up there. So, micro game, a game that takes less than 15, 20 minutes.
All right, so I don't know if you're familiar with them, but from Perplexed, the Paco games, they're like a pack of gum, but a game.
No.
Okay, so they came out with, I think it was 16 of these games. Let's see here. I had, like I said, completionist, had to get the entire series, both 1 and 2, and then the special little neoprene cases that they also came in.
Brother. Oh, boy.
I might have an issue. I don't know.
You might.
But anyway, like in the first series, the games include Hue, which is, and all these are card games. And so they are basically the size of a stick of gum, the cards. And then on the side of the game, it'll tell you the complexity of the game. So it'll be a dice face or a die face. You'll have a 1 for a casual game, a 2 for intermediate, and a 3 for challenging. And then also, it helps the completionists out because they are numbered in the series which game you have.
Oh boy!
But I love these games. They're quick. They belong in your pocket. That's why they call them Paco games. Actually, Miniature Market I believe has these. So if you want to pick them up tomorrow. So most of these games you can learn in about 2 to 5 minutes. And you can play them within 10 minutes. And they range from so like Hue, TKO, which is a boxing game for 2 players. Gem is a auction game. Fly is you have a fly swatter, and you're flipping over cards, and as soon as you see the fly, you're supposed to swat the table. Tie, which is a rug of war game, kind of like tug of war. Lie is basically liar's dice without the dice. And then
You're just lying.
yes, you've got a word game. You got bus, which is actually kind of cool. The cards, which again are the size of a stick of gum. You have these cards that are streets, and you got two-sided streets, and you are trying to set them up so that way you can have a bus route. There's dig, there's rum, Jim, orc, box, spy, so, and boo. And those are the 16 that they have. But I love these games. They're quick. You can actually put one whole series in your pocket with the case, or you could just take one and just put one in your pocket. Just remember, it's not gum, so don't chew it.
Right. It's like when we play the Mint games.
Oh
Mint
yeah,
Cooperative and Mint Works. Like, don't eat the mints. They do look like Altoids, but they are not Altoids.
yeah. That's just like the joke of Wingspan. It's like you have those Cadbury eggs out there. It's like, oh, okay. Are you serious? You're going to put Cadbury eggs as a joke out there while you're playing with plastic eggs that look like Cadbury eggs.
Just the same.
All right.
The same.
Yeah, when you bite down, it's not.
One tastes good, one breaks your teeth.
Yeah. Might still be the Cadbury egg.
So, for a hidden gem game or a guilty pleasure game.
All right, so I have one of each. My hidden gem game is Quarriors. Not a lot of people really look at Quarriors because it's an older game, but it's loaded with dice. It is the precursor to Dice Masters. It's kind of what set that runway for it. But it's fantasy themed, and it's got a lot of comedy in. I mean, it's kind of Knights of the Dinner Table type comedy. It's a little tongue in cheek. Everything is Q for starting with words, hence the name Quarriors instead of Warriors. Your currency in it is quiddity. It's got a lot of weird, funny monsters. They've got, I think, 3 or 4 expansions for it, and then they have a Light versus Dark, which is a standalone or an expansion. I absolutely love that. That is one of my first games when I got introduced into the hobby, and I just fell in love with it. And it's one of those games that if anyone ever says you want to pick a game, that's probably one of, if they like dice, that is probably one I will go with. A guilty pleasure game, again, there's going to be comments. Munchkin. I love Munchkin. There's so many different themes of Munchkin. We constantly get sucked in anytime they have promos or just little packs, all of the different little expansions, the trackers, all that stuff. The playmats, we go all in. It's a ton of humor. We like it, even though it's Munchkin, but we love it. We don't get to play it enough, and that is one of my guilty pleasures. And anytime I usually say Munchkin, I get these looks like, really, Munchkin?
Munchkin's a game that I like it, but it's one that we tried to play at work a couple different times, and it just does not get done in an hour.
Oh, okay.
It's right up on that. It takes about 75 to 80 minutes. We try to get it in, we had a couple people had a couple different versions. I think we had the steampunk version, the Cthulhu version. I can't remember. We had a couple other ones. Oh, we had the Axe Cop version.
Okay. Yep.
We just one that I wish I could play it more, but it's not one that I see or I get a lot of exposure to. So
that game, in my opinion, is really on who you play it with. If they can really get into it, I mean, you're basically role playing at that point because you've taken on this persona of this Munchkin character. And you're kicking down that door and finding out that there's a gazebo on the other side just looking at killing you. And then you're just like, I'm a level 1 with bare feet. And this is a level 10 gazebo. Does anyone want to help? No? Okay, you're going to kill me? Cool, thanks.
Yeah, they just sit there and wait. Well, I think the other thing I don't like is the couple times I have finished playing it is it's always the person in second place that wins. Because because everybody does everything they can to stop the person in the lead from winning, and the next person just walks through the door and game over, and you're like, man, that was so anticlimactic.
Well, and there's a lot of luck involved. It's a deck of cards. It's no different than a die. You flip that card, you're going to get a level 20 monster. The next guy that needs to get one more level to win the game, and he flips over a level 1 monster, and his armor and all that stuff is taking him to like level 50, and it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and add a monster, and we still have not even come close to denting him. So cool, you win the game. But I don't know, whenever I play it, I have a lot of fun, but it's also one of those games that it's kind of like, hey guys, Munchkin, and then you're just like, oh, okay, you're one of those.
I got a friend that he loves it, and like I said, I just wish we were able to play it more so I could get more exposure to it. But I don't have anything against it other than the fact, like I said, the biggest thing I have against it is I can't get it in an hour.
Yep.
So I feel like if I could get it in an hour, I would definitely play it a lot more.
Yeah, and it's one of the, you do need 3 to 4 people. Anything more than that, it can just draw out.
Sure.
I played a game before that was 6 people, and I think we played for like 2+ hours.
Yeah, that's not my game right there, man. No. I can tell you that. So, I want to get 2 gamer questions out of the way. I forgot to ask these at the beginning. How do you pronounce the Klaus Teuber 1995 game? The Settlers of...
Well, I believe there's only one correct answer, Adam. And
right, there's the right answer and there's the wrong answer.
No. There's only one answer. And that's Catan.
That's right.
Katana.
Right, it is Catan. People say Catan. My son says Catten just to tick me off.
Oh.
See, like, hey, Dad, you gonna play Catten? And I'm like, I don't even know what that is.
And see, now I believe there's 2 answers.
Oh, man. And my other question, I didn't even really know that this was a point of contention until I was, nerding out reading another book. But in the wonderful game Carcassonne, do you have monasteries or do you have cloisters?
Well, in the versions I play, they're monasteries.
Right. But apparently in the original game, they're cloisters, and it's actually like this giant point of contention. And it's like to let you know how long you've been playing the game as if you call them cloisters or monasteries.
See, I feel like they should just go back to that because, cloister, it just sounds way cooler.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that you're a big fan of Carcassonne. So am I. Game. Oh my God. The amount of money I can spend on that game is insane.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Shoot.
What is your favorite version of Carcassonne?
Favorite version? Like with what do I like to throw into the bag for drawing?
No, like the different versions, like Amazona or the Gold Rush.
I've only played a couple. I've played Gold Rush and the Amazon one. I like the Gold Rush one a lot. I think that's a fun addition. But just good old fashioned Carcassonne with about 2 or 3 expansions in there, to me, is just the way to go. Okay.
I like that. I'm a big fan of the original. But I found that the Amazon one, there was something about it that was different enough that it really hooked me. And so I like the fact that you're traveling down this river.
Yeah, that's a good mechanic. I do like that. Have you played the Star Wars one?
I have. I can't get my hands on it, but I have.
It's because it's $1 billion now.
Yeah, I know. I spent my last $1 billion on another 1,000 board games that I bought. So
Yeah. No, actually, I think I played that originally at Geekway a couple years ago. It was in the Play and Win.
oh, and you didn't win it?
I did not win it. I'm trying to think what I did win that year. I won something else that year, but it was not the Star Wars Carcassonne.
Tell you what, I won 2 years ago. I won a copy of Fences. I was super stoked about that.
Did you win it too?
So we played it quite a few times actually, and my wife kept asking me, she's like, "Why are we playing a play to win when you just literally got your copy of Fences?"
She took our picture.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, because it's an awesome game.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It is. I loved it, and I'm like, well, and I'm in it, so I mean, I kind of have to. And
I'm kind of on the
they didn't play to wins. I won, and I'm like, that's awesome.
Actually, that year I won Crusaders. Thy Shall Be Done.
Okay,
and that game is fantastic.
I love Geekway. I love how they do that stuff. I like the fact that if you already won a game, then that's the game you won, and they're going to pick someone else. I like the fact that they spread that love.
No, it's a lot of love to spread. It's like a 360 games or something like that they give away every year. So.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a lot.
So my last question here, I already know the answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Are you a Kickstarter backer, creator, both?
So I'm a backer. I believe the label they gave me was super backer.
It certainly is. It certainly is.
I didn't realize that was a thing until I hit a point.
I believe it's 20 in a year at $20 or more.
See, I did not know that. And I just
could be wrong, and I'm sure the listeners will let us know.
Well, yeah, it's I hit a point, and the next time I logged in, it said super backer, and I was like, oh, that's new. Hopefully my wife doesn't log in and see that.
Yeah, I follow you on Kickstarter, so I get the email that Joe backed this, and I'm like, gosh, Joe, now I gotta go look at it.
You're on the Tom pool on that, because he absolutely hates the fact that he gets emails still.
I get the email, and I'm like, what did he back now? Then I have to go look at it. Then I have to decide, do I back it too? And,
do I back this, or is this complete garbage? What is he doing?
Sometimes I do reach out to him, like, Joe, why are you backing this?
Oh, because it's amazing. Like, okay, you got blinders on. Cool. I hope you enjoy that game that you never will get. Just like Jumanji.
Jumanji?
Oh, you didn't see that?
No.
Oh, that was a very, very awful experience. They did a replica version of the movie prop. And it was very convincing, but total scam. About $350, but it's like, oh, all right, you got me.
Oh man!
But on that one, I asked permission from my wife if it was okay, and she gave me the green light. And so I still feel bad, but on the other hand, it's like, I guess whatever. They got me.
Never giving you the green light again.
No, well, on things like that, I mean, anything really over $100, I like to talk to my wife. I mean, it's a partnership. Sure. But even though, I mean, I'm kind of the guy that pays for everything, I still like to have her input. I'm a good guy.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's the one that kind of got me this last year. And it was a bad one, but I wasn't the only one that got taken, so I don't feel so bad now. I mean, I think there was another 300 people. They made, I think, it was like almost $200,000 off people.
Jeez.
Oh, it was bad.
And all I needed was 8,000.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't Jumanji.
No, it wasn't. Thank God.
Yeah, no, and I'm really hoping that you do come out with that the expansion here sometime soon. That's really an awesome deal. The fact, like we were talking earlier with the Splendor, you got 4 expansions, but I mean, you had. What was it, 10 expansions?
I think so, yeah. 10.
Yeah, I mean, that's insane. So,
yeah.
But, So there is obviously this is the time of year for holidays. Everyone has different holiday that they celebrate. You've got Christmas
Oh yeah.
and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa, if I'm saying that right.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
I mean, everyone has tons of holidays. So there's a game that I think you should seek out. Go to Miniature Market, see if it's in their library or something. Maybe you've already played it, and it's one that I really enjoy. It's a little bit meatier game.
Okay.
Worker placement. It's called Santa's Workshop. It's one that I found a few years back, and I didn't hear much about it, but it really is a fun game, and it's very thematic. You are playing as Santa's elves, and they are your workers, and you are placing them in different sections of his workshop. And like they have the area where the reindeers are kept, and you're making toys, and you're wrapping presents, and you're baking cookies, and you've got a round marker that's a Christmas tree, and then you've got Santa Claus, and they're all wooden pieces. I mean, it's very well done.
Nice.
That is one that I would recommend you playing during
All right,
the
well,
holiday season.
Definitely try to locate that one.
And if you can't, I know a guy in Sioux Falls here that has a game room. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump.
I think we established it's a hop, skip, and a leap.
Okay, well, either way, same thing. But yeah, that's a fun game.
All right.
And I know you are familiar with fences, obviously, so it would be really cool if you would release some kind of, I don't know, like what do you call those your do-it-yourselfer board games? Print and plays?
Oh yeah.
It'd be really cool if you did like a print and play for like a Santa expansion for all of your awesome listeners that have a copy of Fences.
Yeah. I'll see what I can do with our artist, but a little short notice on that. Maybe for next year, though.
Well, I'm just saying, I know a guy that has a 3D printer. Get myself a little Santa Claus.
Did you ever get the Santa expansion for Catan?
I actually do. I have it. Yep.
Hilarious. It's hilarious.
Yes. That's why I think there should be a Santa expansion for Fences.
There should be a Santa expansion required for every game.
There could be. So you should get on that.
King of Tokyo, just Santa comes in,
Well, yeah, they've got the gingerbread man.
Yeah, they do. They do.
And I think there's a Christmas tree as well.
Yeah, I was trying to think. Yes, there is. Yeah, not any of their official, like, what do they call them? Like the unofficial, official promos or whatever.
Yeah, they're just the promos. They don't have the power ups or anything like that. It's just your token and the tracker
player
counters.
Board.
Yeah, which are, I mean, cool enough. They're awesome. I just recently put together my broken token insert for King of Tokyo because I had so many different characters. And then I loaded it up, and it's just a hefty box. And then I remembered I have a few different locations hidden of other promos.
Oh my
so now I have to find those.
Yeah, the broken token box organizers are just amazing.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, like my King of Tokyo. I got King of Tokyo and King of New York, both with those box organizers, and I'm able to hold all the new monster packs and the power-ups and everything, so it does make them great.
Oh, they are awesome. And then I think the King of Tokyo one was like $20 retail, so that's not a bad price.
No, and what it allows you to do is just fantastic. So
yeah, and especially if you're at limited shelf space, that's the way to do it.
I always do. I don't have my own pool barn outside my house that I've converted into a game room.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, wait. Yeah. Well, Joe, I'd like to thank you for your time. And like I said, I'd like to thank you for being the first guest on Eat Lunch and Board Game.
Well, thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah. And how can anybody reach out to you if they feel the need?
Well, I'm pretty much everywhere in the interwebers. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter, Facebook. I think I'm even on LinkedIn. I don't even know what that is, but I'm on it.
There you go.
You can reach out to me on my website, averagejoesgamingpodcast.com, or find me on Facebook. I'm always on Facebook. But or just reach out to my buddy Adam Collins.
Right, I can get you in touch.
Yep.
All right, guys. And that's Joe, and I will be back with another interview at the beginning of the year with Justin DeWitt, who was the designer and artist for Castle Panic.
Wait, did you just cheat on me with another guest? I mean, I thought I was like your exclusive guest here.
No.
Oh, wow.
Sorry you found out this way.
Well, that's awesome because I'm already listening to your show, so I mean, I can't wait for these interviews to come out.
Yeah, and I can't either. I was really excited that he agreed to be on my podcast, and I love Castle Panic. It's one of my favorite. Game. Yeah, it's my favorite. It's my go-to co-op game, especially to introduce people to the mechanic of co-op.
Is he the same one that did Star Trek Panic? Or is that
it's his company, it's still Fireside Games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I gotta say Star Trek Panic's probably my favorite of the Panics. Just, I mean, the original series, the Enterprise, the fact that it takes damage, it's so cool.
Oh yeah, and the movement, how you can rotate it and move it forward. Yeah, there's a lot going on with that. So hopefully I'm gonna do some me too. I think I'm going to do some more research before I have that interview.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. I'm really looking forward to it. So, so if you need to reach out to me, it's eatlunchandboardgame@gmail.com, or you can find me on Facebook as well. Until next time, guys, keep building those bridges.
Average Joe's Gaming is a weekly podcast brought to you by us. I'm Joe.
I'm Tom. We talk about all things game-related. In this hour-long podcast, you'll discover what has arrived in the game room,
which Funko Pop Tom just could not resist, and maybe, if you're lucky, we might get around to talking about games.
Might.
Tune in weekly. You can find us on all of your favorite podcast formats.
When you're gaming, why not be comfy? Go over to supportplayer.org. Click on the cards, pieces, and dice to get some merch. These t-shirts are some of the most comfortable I have ever worn. That's supportplayer.org, and there's a link on eatlunchandboardgame.com.